My family has the tradition of going to Lake Powell on vacation basically every summer. Since about 1993, we have gone down to Lone Rock Beach Campground at Wahweap Bay, just upstream from the Glen Canyon Dam. I have been lucky enough to get to go with my family on vacation every single year except for in 2009 when I was away on my mission for the LDS Church. I was gone from July 2008 to July 2010, and lucky for me, I got to go to Lake Powell in the summer beforehand in June of 2008, as well as right when I got home in August of 2010. But 2009 was the one year I didn't get to go, and it was the one year that seems to have been jinxed. Since the late 1990s, one of our traditions at Lake Powell has been taking a boat or a wave runner over to the other side of Wahweap Bay, where there is a giant sandhill that has formed in a narrow canyon, where the sand seems to naturally funnel into the alcove based on the prevailing winds. When we first discovered it was there, the severe droughts that have plagued the area in the 21st century had not yet occurred, so the lake was at full capacity. Starting in 2002, a drought began, and as a result, the water coming into the lake couldn't meet the demands downstream, meaning that the lake level lowered over 50 feet in 1 year, giving every visitor to Lake Powell the unfortunate view of what has become known as the bathtub ring. Even as the lake has lowered below 100 feet of its max capacity, the sandhill and the canyon leading to it have still been accessible by boat. There was only 1 year I remember where the water was so low that sandbars were completely blocking the entry point to the canyon of the sandhill. So despite the water being much lower than full in 2009, the sandhill was still easily accessible. With the water that much lower, that made the sandhill even taller than normal. Obviously, the fun of climbing to the top of the sandhill was to run down it as fast as possible, pick up speed, and splash into the water at the bottom. And my brother Matt had as much fun doing this as anyone. And having tremendous speed just helped the experience be all the more fun for him. This year, however, fate seemed to be against him and the family. He managed to almost kill himself in the most bizarre way. After running down the sandhill, he dove headfirst into the water. When he dove in, he managed to curve, and his momentum ended up propelling him straight down so that the top of his head hit the floor of the lake. This resulted in him completely breaking his C1 vertebrae in his neck, and as luck would have it, we caught the entire incident on video.
Oh, Matt. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Matt. Oh, Matt. Oh.
Last time you bipped it.
Yeah, I'm going. Oh my gosh, Devin. Oh my gosh.
Devin, he's down.
Oh.
Hey, you made it.
I don't think I missed it.
When he gets to that point, he's good. All right.
Jake, I don't want you going that fast. I mean it.
I think I'd do something like that.
I mean it.
He might be barrel
Jake's
rolling.
You mean what?
Video on Instagram.
Like that?
Jake.
As shown in the video, after servicing from his dive, he realized that he had injured his neck in some way. He was glad when he hit bottom that he didn't knock himself out. He was in quite a bit of pain and made his way over to the shore where he rested against a wave runner. It was incredibly fortunate that no paralysis occurred because no one seemed to have realized anything was wrong with him for a few minutes. Had he been paralyzed, he likely would have drowned. Not even my aunt, who was filming the whole thing, realized anything was initially wrong. So after a couple people realized Matt had been injured, they helped him into the boat and had him lie down on the floor with his neck on a bag of ice and a pillow. After getting him back to camp on the opposite shore, my cousin, who is a PA, checked his neck and thought he might have strained ligaments and they ought to get it checked at the hospital. So trying to keep him as level, immobile, and comfortable as possible, they put him on a table and moved him from the boat to the truck. He sat in the reclined passenger seat while my mom supported his head from the rear seat. They took him to the hospital in Page, Arizona. Sadly, there was no doctor there, only a physician's assistant. They took an x-ray of his neck, and sure enough, the C1 vertebrae had completely broken into 4 nice pieces directly around the spinal column. The fact that there had been no paralysis was nothing short of a miracle. Despite knowing exactly what the problem was, the assistant was not permitted to interpret the radiology at the hospital in Page, so they had to send the radiology work down to Phoenix for evaluation. Unable to do the procedure to fix the bone in Page, my mom and brother had to fly on a medical plane up to the University of Utah. He was asleep the whole way. Meanwhile, my dad drove back to camp with my younger brother, where they packed up our trailer and drove home as fast as possible. The next day, the hospital put my older brother in a halo brace, which included getting holes drilled in his skull and the brace screwed into place. He didn't have to have surgery because the halo brace held everything in place and allowed the bone to heal naturally. Although when he finally got to take the brace off 3 months later, the bone had healed in a slightly new shape, resulting in some discomfort and some trips to the chiropractor. The halo brace was interesting for him. Since he couldn't take it off, sleeping was rather odd. It kept his head slightly elevated above his pillow at night. He had to get lots of plain t-shirts and cut them down the back and add Velcro so that he could slip them on and off like a backwards jacket because he couldn't pull anything over his head. Not to mention people's reactions were amusing. He once got stopped in a grocery store by a bunch of kids who were on a treasure hunt. They told him they needed to take a picture of something weird and asked if they could take a picture with him. He even had to wear it at my sister's wedding. After the halo came off, he still had to wear a removable neck brace for 3 weeks. But he's had virtually no lasting side effects from his injury. However, when running down the sandhill at Lake Powell, we have a new family rule. No diving head first.